What's good, Daddy? Sexy Beast with another high-end and high-class progression for this next video. As you can see, we are in the final stage of putting the finishing touches on the piece in the form of detailing while correcting the drawing. Our parenthesis is the last part right here, and so what I am doing, some idiots might say, okay, well, you're at the stage where you're just detailing. You know, I am correcting the drawing as I see it. I am still coming here. I'm trying to enhance the color. I'm trying to fix the drawing. And oftentimes when you do that, you might mess up just a little bit, right? You might mess it up just a little bit. And so you just have to go back through and fix it. So at this point right here, what I'm trying to do is I'm looking at the entire shape as I draw and trying to do the tiny detail work. The mistake you don't want to make is to just hone in on one little area, work it, and then when you step back, everything is wrong because you weren't looking at the whole shape as you painted it. So I am at this point, being that the overall shapes are in place, I am now fitting the smaller shapes into place and trying to give them an attractive brush stroke that works when I step back just a little bit. So that is the goal, if you will, of this right here. And so that might be a little bit dark, so I'm going to come in and lighten it up. So like I said, sometimes we make mistakes. This is how I'm lightening it. I was working right here, and so I can say, okay, well, around this area right here, and then I'm going to try to push the color. And it's okay to you know, put a little bit more color in than you think, right? It's okay to do that. So this should bring the value up and push the color forward some as well, while I'm trying to correct this shape. And now, so working this area right here, I might lose this shape a little bit. So I'm going to come back in with this. I have 3 brushes I'm currently working with right now between the two, and just a touch of red into it. And I am squinting down, and I'm looking at this entire shape as I'm drawing this piece right here. Can't breathe. Can't breathe. I'm working this edge. Right? Stepping back, seeing how it looks, and that's okay. I'll come back to it. What I don't like doing is modeling, you know, like this and just swirling it around, making everything smooth and plasticky. I like having some brush strokes because those denote form. Form is anatomy, my dear peasant. So from here, I slightly oiled this out just a little bit. You can use just a little bit of walnut oil to do so. And I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to, there's a little bit of a plane right here. I like this. I don't want it as light here, but I'm just making slight adjustments. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit in value, which means value is how light or dark something is. I'm going to bring it up some. So what do? We get we mix between, we get the color value, right? So I think the light value, how light it is, the value is about there, and then I'm going to come in here and maybe just a touch of orange. So we go in, we get how light or dark it is, then we go in with the color, and then the drawing comes in. This might be a little bit too light, so let me see. Let's see how this looks. This actually, let me add some color because it's going to bring the value down some. Just a little bit there. I gave it more color, and I brought the light value down some, and then I scoop it up on the brush. And I'm going to lightly squint down and try to do just a brush stroke with this. So starting here, something like that. And now, got milk. That's not what we want. We don't want it like that. So what do? We could either, I could come through and just take it off with a paper towel or even my finger, which I don't recommend doing because this is a little bit toxic. But I'm just going to come in with this value right here, and I'm going to bring it back down just a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this down just a little bit. Fade that in some, so just go around the edges. Something like that. And then I brought it down too low, so I'm going to come in with a little bit darker value. So the same brush right here, I'm going to bring it over just a little bit here. Bring it down some. And this is a little bit greener, But if I even wanted a little bit more green than that, I can actually come in with the green that we mixed, the secondary. Squint. Because you want this turning down just a little with the tip of the brush. Tip. Down just a little bit, step back, and now that's starting to turn just a little bit. And I want a little bit more light right here, maybe just a little bit right there. So I'm wiping it off with a paper towel. I'm going to come in, and I learned my lesson before, right? It was about this value right here, but it's going to be a little bit lighter because I use that to darken it some. And then I'm going to come in with a little bit of color. And it's going up into the cheek area, which I think is going to have a little bit more Indian red to it. So it's going to be something like this. Right? Take some time, and then what we do, we focus on the brush, scoop it up, make sure the tip's nice. We're going to squint down, then the drawing comes into play. And take your time and paint slow, and you'll make less mistakes. So from here, just take it, 1, 2. There we go. And that's looking okay. That's looking all right. And so where else can we use this color? This color is very similar to up here around the cheek, right? Might bring it up around here, here. And I might bring the value up some around that area. And let's go in with the purple. So this is around the cheek area. So guys, this right here, this process, you can see the full process when I live stream on Twitch, right? I'm constantly doing projects where I am working on it and doing this type of detailed work. But here, I'm trying to give you just the general overall impression of how to go about developing the work in the Florence Academy style painting, which is the best school in the world ever, by the way. Partially because I went there. It's now a historical monument because I was there. I was teaching within the first couple minutes of being at the school. They begged me to do it, and they paid me a handsome sum, even though I tried to turn it down. They said, no, we want you. And anyway, the school is doing well thanks to me. I definitely did not take 2 years learning to paint when they said it would only take 1 year. That's definitely not what happened. I definitely did not break down and cry every night in the fetal position because I didn't know how to paint. I definitely did not almost quit the school whining and complaining because real men don't cry. And I am in fact a very strong, big-brained male who is superior in every single way to, in fact, all the other males in this wretched world. So that is, my friends, how I am going about turning the form right now, building everything up. This right here, this transition needs to soften some. So we're going to come in with another brush. I could continuously work these paintings up. You know, just I could constantly keep going. So this right here, I just got a little bit of olive oil, walnut oil, and I'm just rubbing this in. Circular motions, counterclockwise in nature, right? Yes. And then we're going to mix the value in between the two right there, and then we're going to think about the color. So I think, you know, something like that is, I don't know, somewhere around here. I guess. Wait. Is going to be darker. Something like this, and then I'm going to grade out. I have some grays here. Let's see, I don't know if y'all can see this, but those are grays. I'm just going to take some and actually gray that out. All right, just bring the value down just a little bit. It makes a nice turn right here. This might actually be too dark. Actually, this works. This works. And so I'm squinting to do this. And these transitions, sometimes you have to take like a little bit of time to do. Whoops, now she looks a little bit evil. Maybe she is. Maybe she is. Just lightly putting this on. So that's the value right here. I'm going to take it and make it a little bit lighter. And I'm not going to worry too much about the color, so I'm not going in with the color. I'm just doing the value at this point. There. Squint. This piece right here. And I made it a little bit too thin. And then coming here, and one thing I could do too, I mean, I could just take some of this and take some black to gray it out as well. It makes a nice cool, right? So you want to be practicing warms and cools and stuff, but guys, this is essentially it. This is how I work the transitions. Now it's starting to turn, but I lost the shape a little bit, so let's come in. All right, so essentially, I can continuously work this. I can keep going with this drawing right here. It's a lot of, I mean, the main thing is, look, the main thing is just keeping it in a very flexible state, always going back through, always correcting it, trying to improve in what you've done, right? We're all making mistakes with this stuff. And so that's one of the reasons why I actually live stream. So like I said, if you want the full process, everything that I have done, not just with this piece right here, which I have several recordings on my live streams with this, but other works that I'm working on, I do them so that you can actually see me making the mistakes so that you yourself will be less discouraged when doing this type of work. Because one of the main things that I learned when working at the Florence Academy was to turn my mistakes into successes by learning from them, right? They're not mistakes, they're not failures, but you learn from them. And in doing so, you start looking and drawing lessons out of them, and you learn faster because of it, right? And so that's one of the methods that I use actually in a lot of facets of my life, but this is it's very helpful in particular with painting, which can be extremely discouraging. And look, this isn't a bash on YouTube artists, but when we edit these videos, oftentimes we'll edit out a lot of the mistakes and we'll make it so that it's more palatable for people who want to watch this type of stuff, right? You don't want to see necessarily somebody always making mistakes, but that in fact does happen quite a bit in my streams, and it happens with every single painter. You don't see their failures as much as you see the successes, because you know, like in a museum, you go into a museum and you see the successful work. You don't always see the work that is unsuccessful. And so that is just one of the things that I like showing in my streams, right? And I'm trying to convey to you here. So as you can see, I kind of just brought this value in, messed it up a little bit. So we're gonna come in, make it a little bit darker, kind of bring that back down, right? Just like that. And so in this manner, we're just slowly fixing everything. And if it gets too tight, which sometimes I tend to do, then we can go back into the work and just do big basic brush strokes to get the basic forms back, the basic form, right? So we're correcting everything at once. So even though you see me working with this small brush right here, I'm oftentimes going through and just correcting all the small little shapes that I see. Sometimes I'm bringing values up, sometimes I'm bringing them back down. So for example, right here, this is actually turning quite nicely, meaning it's going from dark to light. It denotes some form. I'm actually, when I squint down, it is in the ballpark, but I think it gets a little bit lighter there. So I not only want to have an attractive light, but I want to have an attractive brush stroke with solid color. So right now we have the foundation for everything, and we're just going over things and trying to put that finishing touch, because that's what people are going to see. So at this stage, I am going through right here, mixing between colors on my palette. I'm going to cool it down just a little bit with these the reds, the grays that we have right here. And I'm going to say, okay, it's going to be in a value somewhere close to around right here. That's it. And the color actually does seem pretty good because it is a little bit grayed out. So I'm going to come in here and so we get how light it is, and then we think about the color, which normally I would go up and grab some color, but I think this is the color we want. And then what we do, we make sure that it's on the brush, right? So I'm just taking my time, looking at my brush right here, and I'm going to come here, and now drawing comes into play, right? So we're going to just take it right here, and I can either come this way, which I like doing, or let's try to go this way and just go across with it. So this should be bringing the light value up just a little bit. And so now we just paint very slowly, okay? I'm slightly squinting like this. You don't need to squint all the way down, but squint just a little bit and look at the whole area as you do that, so that you're making sure that this isn't too light or too dark. It will help you see that. So again, take your time. We're gonna look back and forth, and we're just gonna hold our breath. And just paint it on. I painted that on, and now I'm just going to come in with another value right there, and it's going to be a little bit more warm. I'm going to take the same brush right here, And let's add a little bit. It's going to be a little bit darker, right? So this is light, and we might add a little bit of darkness and a little bit of red. And it doesn't take that much, maybe a little bit more. And it's okay to push these colors just a little bit. I'm going to get it on the tip of the brush. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this value and I'm going to paint right over this. Across here. Thinking about this edge right there, that edge. And then we're going to go in with the darks right next to it. So we're kind of redoing certain parts right here. This is how we work. I'm coming in with the darker area right here, and I'm going to make it, I'm going to contrast it with some green. So it's going to play off that reddish piece right there. And we have this red piece here, this warmish piece here, and this is going to be kind of green. Squint just a little bit, taking that off. Like that. Step back, and now that has a little bit of light, but we need to make it kind of flow up with this just a little bit. So I'm going to come, let's take a brush that's kind of in between the two, and we're going to take it probably around right here, and it's going to be, let's make it a little bit green. So we're now going in with the color, right? So we get how light or dark something is, then we go with the color, and then we think about the drawing. It needs to go up in value some, so I'm going to actually take some of this light, make it lighter. The color still seems okay. I'm going to scoop it all on the brush, think about what's on there, squint down. I'm doing subtle brush strokes on there to make that form turn up, right? So this is how we go about doing this type of work, this transitional work right here. Cross this way. There we go, ever so slightly. So in this manner, we can start shaping and bringing light up or bring it down, but we're thinking about actual transitional values with color themselves. And so if you don't want it muddy, continuously go back to the palette with your brush, reload the paint with your brush, and then add some color to it. Constantly do that, and then just do 1 or 2 strokes, and then that's it. Let's clean, let's see, actually let's go up into here. I want to show you, if I was to go through this, I like how this looks, but let's go ahead and add, I'm going to get another brush here. All right, and I'm going to add some light coming in here, okay? So let's say the drawing is pretty good, but I want to get a little bit more light in here. So I'm going to go in with the lighter value right here, but I want it to have color. And normally up in the forehead, you're going to have more yellows and oranges and such right here, right? Something like this. And I'm just going to actually do this. See, okay, yeah, that actually looks pretty good. This might be very light, but let's go through and add this in like this. So we have one, and I like that I see a brush stroke there. This is what people will see at the very end. And then I'm going to do 1, 2, and then a third one right there that's a little bit lighter. Okay, so here I'm going to add just a little bit more color and then scoop it up on the brush. And we're going slow, but in going slow, we go faster. My dear peasants, faster because we make less mistakes. Make less mistakes. This, my friends, is how the Florence Academy teaches right here. This is how they go about teaching. So we're going through and we're just slowly putting it on. We're going to step back. Now, you do have that form. It's that highlight that kind of just pops forward just a little bit. Now, you don't want to continuously get lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter, right? You don't want to do that. But you do want to be conscientious of keeping the light effect. But I like how now there is that this obvious highlight right there, okay? And if I wanted to, I could go and lighten this up or push the color, which let's push the color, but let's not lighten it up, okay? Because I want to keep that brush stroke there. I want to keep it there. And oftentimes, I'm only doing this because I want y'all to see the color beside of it. But normally I would leave it there because I like having that brush stroke on at the very end, okay? It just looks nicer. Let's see if that's too bright. That is too bright. Let me bring it down some, and I'm gonna push the color too. So I brought it down, and it's just subtle shifts, and I added some color into it as well. So now that's too dark. Damn it! So we're gonna come in here and actually bring it up, and I put too much orange into it is what happened. So here. So this is why we just simply take our time. There we go, that's what I want. So something like this. I'm actually adding some color in, and I'm shaping that the highlight as well at the same time, because I'm just bad. There we go. And if we wanted to as well, we can kind of come in with little values here and there, just small things like that that do push the form out just a little bit. So you can find values that work here, in here as well, but you have to be careful not to overdo it. Let's bring some of this down here as well. There we go. There. Nice solid brushwork. And so in doing so, it's like up close you can see the actual brush strokes, but when you step back, your eye blends it in, and it makes it, it gives it more solidity, more form, as we say. One quick thing too, we always, as everything, work around the painting. This area right here is not as worked up as it is up top. Now, let me show you a little quick tip, if you will, with a paintbrush. Normally when you're working with larger brushes, sometimes you can get away, well, I do encourage you to work with larger brushes and use the tip to do smaller strokes, because that's going to make you more versatility with your brushes. With a smaller brush, you can do the same thing, but in reverse, okay? Instead of using the tip, you can use the side. Make a larger brush stroke with a smaller brush. So that, my friends, is what we're going to do, because frankly, to be honest with you, I'm too lazy to walk over there, literally 2 feet away, and grab another brush. Too much effort. We here maximize, we meaning me and the mannequins and Mullet Baby, maximize the day with efficiency. That's why I have gifted you with these videos, right? So that you too may become badass, sexy, and extremely efficient in your own work. So I am essentially going and just working that transitional edge, okay? Transitional edge right here. This is what we do, all right? Using the side of the brush, and people will be like, he uses such big brushes, oh my gosh. And then I'll just be sitting there smirking, saying it wasn't that big. I just know how to use it. Note to self, edit that out in editing. It could be taken the wrong way and give people the wrong idea about me. Don't be lazy this time either. So that, my friends, is how we freaking do it. Damn it, I'm peeing on myself. I just want to note that we just continuously work around. I might work this up a little bit more. I don't know. We'll see. I'm frankly very lazy, tired of doing this. Tagging, I hope this was helpful. This is your sister. Tagging sister, I hope he told you, because otherwise you could be in trouble, but I think you guys are cool. So yeah, this is all good. Really quick progression of what I have done. If you didn't see this video, here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, or however many videos this is going to be. I don't know yet. Anyway, this is the progression, and boom! Here is the finished work, which I have not photographed yet, but as of the time that you are watching this, I definitely had. My dear peasants, I hope this was very helpful. I do live stream my work if you want to see the full process. I constantly make mistakes, constantly mess up, not because, you know, I mess up. I do it purposefully so that you can be more encouraged. Always stick with your work. It's very difficult. Just stick with it. Learn from your mistakes. That's one of the best lessons that I can say, is learn from your mistakes, and that way nothing is a failure. Nothing is a failure. So until next time, Uskadiddy out.